my eridepro SS 2.0. I put around 1,700 miles on this bike and it's time for a real deal review. This isn't a first ride or a quick unboxing. This is what it's like to actually live with this bike. Let's jump into it. To start off, I want to start by saying how impressed I am with how this bike has held up over the 1,700 miles I've put on. I've had the bike for about 5 months and it never once has gone out of service unless I took something off to work on it or just took the bike out of commission for an upgrade or something like that, which I'm very impressed with, and I know that's not how it's been for a lot of people, but that's just my experience. Let's go! Got a freaking wave. Oh. Alright, so I'm going to start out with some of the smaller issues. Not all of these are even just issues, just things that could have been improved. I know a lot of them probably are improved on models like the 3.0 and the SR, but this one just lacks them. So to start off, I want to review the region switch, display, and other controls. I like a lot of things about the controls and the display here, but there still is a couple things that I don't like. The region switch is a big improvement in my opinion over the Surron, where you have it in sport mode but not eco, and it's all the time. I like that I have the option to turn it on or off whenever I want, but 1 and 2 on the region switch, in my opinion, feel almost identical, and both of them really are not that strong, and they both let up about 8 to 10 miles an hour, so they're not going to bring you to a stop regardless. 2 should be considerably stronger, where you barely would have to use brakes coming up to a stop sign, or just have had a regen throttle from the start, which I prefer by far, which you could get with an upgraded controller like the EBMX. Also the turbo mode button, I'm just not a fan. I know that's not on the 3.0, which I would love to have, but I got the 2.0. I know they replaced it with, I think, reverse on the 3.0, which would be great, but turbo mode just seems like unnecessary. It gives, in my experience, a very slim power difference, and I really only use it if I'm trying to race somebody or, I don't know, impress somebody, carry 2 people, something like that. And it just doesn't seem necessary. It's kind of annoying. I think I'd rather just have it all the time. Well, moving on, I want to discuss the display. I have a love and hate relationship with this display. I love having the information and this nice big screen, and surprisingly, I haven't broken it yet, which for me is surprising because I've crashed a time or 2. I also love that they didn't overcomplicate this display. The only thing that I don't think is necessary is the trip. I really just don't use that often, and I don't think it's necessary. And if it was going to be there, like, it could just be on an alternate screen when you push a button or something like that. The last thing with the display, which is more of opinion based and not something they did wrong or they did right, is that I would really prefer having an egg rider, the small little screen ones that come with an EVMX or most Solarias. I really prefer those, but that's really just based on your personal preference. I don't think I have any complaints as far as suspension goes. I've been really happy with it, and it's served me very well through coming down from wheelies, pretty big jumps. It really has held up. I bottomed out a couple of times, landing flat. One of the early things I changed was my brakes, and it's probably the best upgrade I've made so far. The stock brakes have decent stopping power, but they really just have a very harsh bite point and very little modulation. So they're really hard, especially as a beginner, to learn wheelie control and smooth, flowy wheelies, which I think are really fun. So TRPs that I've got on here, so much better modulation, so much more control, better adjustability, and it really is just a much better experience. Oh. Hi. Hi. Aren't you so cute? I'm not going to say it's any better or worse than other bikes, because I really don't have the knowledge to say that, but I've also been really impressed as far as how the electronics have held up against time and miles. I really haven't seen any decrease in range, top speed, torque, any of that. I know I'm not that high into the mileage, but I have a friend with an e-ride who's at like 6,000 plus miles, and it also is on stock powertrain, and the top speed seems to be different by like a couple miles an hour, but he's also on a 17-inch wheel instead of a 19-inch. So maybe it hasn't declined at all, who knows? Alright, so another thing here that is strictly opinion based, but still a very important factor, is I love how this bike looks. I prefer it far over a lot of different other bikes like the Sting Rs and the Triple X's. Another big thing that's been very nice with this bike that a Talaria wouldn't have is compatibility with surrons. A lot of parts have been made for the surron. They've been around for so long, and so many of those parts can be put on this bike, which makes it so much easier to fix problems and upgrade. Also, although I think it's very similar to a lot of the bikes in the class, this bike has a very good range. I easily left at like high 80-something% and did a very long, I think it was like 35-mile trip up backpacking with my friend Kyle, which you can check out in my last video. Tons of fun. Check out that video right after I'm done with this one. But yeah, the bike held up great as far as range goes on that journey. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Check out my last video right here. Hope to see you in the next one.